So it's all about the Foreign Secretary David Cameron, who's under fire for hiring a luxury jet worth an estimated £42 million for a recent tour of Central Asia. It was a 5-day trip, meaning that he went to all those different countries. And in this jet, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan and Mongolia. And this is what he used. He used an Embraer Lineage 1000. It can sleep up to 9 people and reportedly has a sommelier to help pick the onboard wine selection, with a food menu suitable for even the most demanding passengers. He's not the first. Last year, his predecessor, James Cleverly, caused a stir for using the same type of plane for a tour of the Caribbean and Latin America at the cost of £400,000. Critics have said it's unacceptable, but look at the point about this is, right, he looks good when he comes off the plane because he's had a proper rest, Jess.
Must be nice.
Well, he's been horizontal for the last 10 hours.
Well, I know. I think, for me personally, I think this is just grotesque. I think, a sommelier, people having to steal baby formula because they can't afford to feed their children. So I think this is the state we're in at the moment, cost of living crisis. This is so out of touch from a Tory government who are being cruel to people who are on disability benefits, telling them to get back to work, and then you're jetting around in this. I understand safeguarding. I understand that politicians need safety, but this is just grotesque in terms of it does not need to be that luxurious.
Carole, can you get away with it, do you think, Carole?
The fact is, this is just gross hypocrisy on people. This is an excuse to Tory bash. The fact is, most people, if they were offered the opportunity, would fly on a private jet rather than flying sardine class on Ryanair or EasyJet.
There's a gap between the two.
I'm not saying that they should, but they would. And the fact is, this guy had to go to, I think it was 6 countries in 5 days. How's he supposed to get there? The bus, the train? What's he going to do? He's representing Britain on a global stage, and he's giving 50 million quid worth of business to the countries that he was visiting last week. So what's he going to get? Granted, the plane he was on was worth 42 million quid. Now, your normal plane is about 25 million. The really top ones are upwards of 100 million. But the point is, and a lot of people are saying that this is terrible for global emissions. The truth of it is this is also tough. Aviation travel as a whole, all travel, represents 2.5% of global emissions for CO2. So the private jet...
It's only one plane, so it's not so much
This is one plane, so it's not. But, but people are going on about private jets. Everyone would go on one if they could.
I'm not saying everyone might go on one, but this is someone who represents our country, Britain, who is funded by the taxpayer.
Yes,
we're
represents
in a cost of living
our country.
Crisis. People cannot afford to feed their children. There is 4 million children in UK in poverty, and then we have a foreign secretary going around in luxury. But
let's just get to the end of a sentence.
Wouldn't we all? I'm sure everyone would love to, but people can't even afford to put heating on or feed their children. So it's not just, we'd all do it. He's using taxpayer money.
People who can't feed their children are not in the government and trying to change it. And the fact is, when you get on your, the EasyJet or Ryanair or BA, whatever you travel, presumably you have a drink, do you?
Not always, no.
But silly now. But you have a drink, and someone serves you that drink. Exactly the same thing.
I'm not.
They're just using a posh word for a guy who.
It's whether or not, if you're in charge of the public purse, you the very first thing you've got to say is, okay, I'm taking a flight. How do I save the taxpayer money on that flight? Right? So the first thing is you tell the sommelier to take the week off. Right? And you get the sommelier to ring us, and he says, look, I'm not on that plane. That's all untrue. You then remove the curtains. You take the bed out. You do an RAF flight.
You take the bed out. Why would you take the bed out? The guy is travelling around 5 countries or 6 countries in 5 days. Should he not sleep? Should he not eat?
You sleep when you're dead. You don't have to get sleep.
No, I'm sorry. Trip. And you say he was probably lying flat out on that, but he probably was not. He was prepping for the next destination.
OK, Yvonne in West Sussex, do you think the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, the former Prime Minister, is it OK for him to use this plane?
Well, my main concern. Good morning, Jeremy and panel.
Good morning, Yvonne.
Carole, I love you to bits. Normally, I agree with everything you say, but what really gets to me is that I'm being taxed to the hilt for green, and I'm not a person that shouts about green all over the place. I'm going out to my bin in a minute to put my coffee pods in there and my newspapers. Why is anybody allowed or should be flying around in private jets? I'm thinking about the emissions.
I don't know if it makes more of a pollution.
Thank you for your kind words. But the fact of the matter is, aviation travel is not the problem. The idea that if Cameron or Sunak stop using private jets, it's going to make a dent of a difference in the climate crisis. It really isn't.
Hang on.
Other things are going to make a difference.
Look, if
individual
we all
actions don't.
did what Cameron did, the planet would be a dustbin. That's how you measure whether something's right or wrong.
Okay.
If everyone did it, would it be
bad or good? Let me give you another fact, because I like my facts. Just 10% of the entire world travels most years. So 90% of the world population does not travel around on planes.
And it's mainly car travel, is it, then, that's doing the fumes?
Some of it.
And cows.
Some of it.
A lot of methane. No, it is a lot of...
Well, it's a bit of cows, but aviation is not the problem for climate crisis.
Yvonne, thank you so much. And another, West Sussex today is big on the phones. Francis, hello.
Yes, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Carole, I want to echo the last lady's words, because I think you're one of the few people who've got more common sense than anybody else I've ever heard on the show, especially Storm as
Jess
well.
is here as well. She's a young person with common sense.
I don't know that lady, but I certainly know Carole, and I think she's great. So always I agree with her.
Well, good. We praise Carole.
I think that it's crazy for Cameron not to show the rest of the country and the world, that you don't have to have a private jet. You can go on a scheduled airline. For economy. I mean, why on earth should he,
Well, I mean, having someone overlook his notes in economy and spill orange juice on him, I think that's going a bit far.
I think it's the fact that this is one of the most luxurious jets that you can get.
No, it is not.
You would think that this is, in general election year, in a year that people don't have any money, in a year that Tories are losing confidence, why would they not choose to say, you know what, we're going to tone it down a bit? It shows their ignorance, it shows their entitlement, that he knew what people would be saying, and he doesn't care.
I know, but what about the completely reverse idea, which is that this is a great country, it's still the greatest country in the world, and therefore the Foreign Secretary should be flying in a decent bit of kit.
A decent bit of kit. I don't think it is the greatest country in the world at the moment, when a lot of people are living in poverty, a lot of our NHS is failing.
Show me a better one.
I think a lot of people would not agree that it is one of the best countries in the world. A lot of people here are failing, and I thought sure that they would want the Foreign Secretary here and not jetting around in a luxurious jet.
Ideally, how would you have him travel?
In a less luxurious jet. I understand that.
Commercial, first class, whatever.
First class maybe, but I understand that not be suitable. But this is just an extreme. And I think it's rubbing it in the faces of people who cannot afford to put food on the table. We are seeing that people are having their disability benefits taken from them, having to use vouchers.
God, you're throwing every socialist argument of this. It's incredible.
It's true, Carole, though, isn't it?
Milk formula, benefits taken off them, and that's all David Cameron's fault for flying in a private jet.
It's a bit like when John Prescott was caught during a financial crisis playing croquet. It's that kind of thing. It's left and right have the same. Hang on, let's get Lewis in Dorset quickly. Hi, Lewis.
Hi, Jeremy. How are you doing?
I'm well, so we only got 20 seconds. What do you think about the plane?
Absolutely shocking. I completely agree with Jess. Why can't he use, low-cost airlines? I went to Ireland last week, a return flight for 40 quid. What's the problem with that? It's our taxpayer.
You get charged to use the loo.
Who I am. It doesn't matter who I am.
There we are.
It does matter. You're not the Foreign Secretary.
We've only got a second. So put him on EasyJet, Lewis.
Money. It's our money that are paying for it, and it's shocking. There's no issue with a low-cost airline. He can use that, and then he'll have the cheek to bang on to us about climate change at some point.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you so much. After the break.